Hey everyone, it's Jonna, the Preppy Crafty Girl, and I am here with my Christmas in the Big Woods journal. Oh my goodness, this thing is so fluffy. I had so much fun making this. It is massive and stuffed full of vintage and handmade goodies and antique things like this lace, and this is just incredible lace. Um, so I just wanted to wrap it like a package at Christmas, and I had to include a little candy cane because it's my favorite part of this story. And so I cut it out, and it said, and there was a long flat stick of red and white striped peppermint candy, all beautifully notched along each side. And I remember that Mary was going to treasure hers, and Laura had to just like dig in and, and chew it up. So, anyway, so that's on there, just a little bit of nostalgia. I just took the tassel off because I can show you the book that way better. So I have like Little House on the Prairie fabric here, and then a bunch of fun little uh, different ribbons and things like that. And then I made a little handmade book. I've actually put two of them on here. And then there's like buttons, and this is from Angela, the traveling crafter. I added that on as a nod to her. Little piece of wood that my friend cut up for me. And there's a little Victorian lady who is out shopping with her little package, jingle bells, a handmade button, a handmade crocheted star, and then there's a little doily from this was the cutest runner. It's all these little colored crocheted flowers. It was so cute. I hated cutting it up, but it had really bad already kind of started to tear, so I didn't feel that bad. Then in one of the lives, we made the little sleigh bells. So that is on here. And there's some cookie cutters and a little ornament that was made from burlap, some little felt balls, and what else? Jingle bells, another cookie cutter, a handmade little trinket here from some vintage wrapping paper, tiny little Tim Holtz deer, little green house because it's a little house in the woods, and yeah, so another felt ball, and there's like a tassel with a heart, all kinds of goodies hanging off of here. So I did put it on a clip so that you could take it off the journal while you're working on it, but then hang it on there while it's all lovely. I made this in a live. It was kind of the pendant that she has on her neck. So I recreated it and then added some velvet and a little piece of jewelry that I had. And so I put her on there with some vintage lace and some uh, velvet ribbon. So let me see. Everybody just does that. I need to do that. I always just, okay, there. Okay, so I wish I had my ruler right here. I don't, oh wait, I do. I want to tell you how thick this thing is. I did a 3-inch binding. So it is 3-inch binding. And oh my goodness, this thing is so fluffy when it gets unwrapped. It's 4 inches thick, but it's so much fun. This is the original book cover, so I put that on there. It's made of some chipboard on there. And then there is this really cool vintage quilt block that I had in the background, and then I added a couple Christmas fabrics that I had that were kind of on the vintage side. So I think they're reproductions. Look at the bubble lights. Oh my goodness. I love and adore that fabric. And anyway, so that is that. And then opening it up, you will get a Laura Ingalls Wilder Home and Museum from Mansfield, Missouri. And then it has a Laura Ingalls Wilder quote. So it is from the museum. You get the little book mark. You will get a little letter from me. There is a vintage handkerchief on the front and the back pocket that I made into pockets on the front and the back, and then a crocheted snowflake. There are pockets, 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 pockets galore. Tons of fun to stuff. There's an antique from 1919 postcard, and this is all original ephemera. So I will tell you if I used any digitals. There's maybe a few of my own that I used in here, but and maybe some just because I did a nod to our journey through Prairie Girls Gather. So I did add some of those, but a lot of it is original ephemera. This is 1930, 1931, and this is from a public school in Wisconsin. It's a tuition statement. This is the actual document. I thought I would put that in there because Laura was a school teacher. So I did put that. Thought that was kind of neat. To be honest, I forgot now who made all of the Christmas cardstock, but it's super thick and lovely. I can't remember. I know I used some Kaisercraft in here, but I'm not sure. Maybe it'll hit me at the end. This pocket has a pocket within a pocket, and this is a rusted envelope that I did, eco dyed and rusted, and then there's a journaling spot in there, a burlap tag that you can write on the back, and then a little vintage button and some fabrics. And this is from the Garth Williams book. This is from a different Laura Ingalls Wilder book. Illustration. Then there's a pocket. This was a vintage envelope. There's some journaling cards in here, and it's Little House in the Big Woods. So anything you see that's Little House in the Big, or any of the Little House images are from another book that I have, because I use the entire book. This book is in the very last signature. I put the Prairie States here. I gave this up. This is one of my favorite maps, atlases that I have, because it's like khaki and aqua, and it's just, it's so dreamy. So anyway, I did put that in there. From a book that I have, this is some of that printer stationery. And I did a ruffle, and here's a little sack. And it talks about the sugar snow. And then I have this guy and another guy. This is a postcard and original. And they're outside a little, like some kind of little shanty, and they've got the saw. And I just thought that was really cool. But the dude's got a bow tie. So I don't really quite understand the juxtaposition of why they're in the snow in front of this little shack and the guy's got a suit and a bow tie on. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I just thought that was kind of cool. And then I tucked that in. There's a journaling spot here that talks about the sap, how Grandpa made the maple sugar, and also back here. So I did include that. This is a page out of an old Sears and Roebuck catalog. It was a reproduction. They came out with them again, and I just thought the ladies in their coats, it just reminded me of when they'd go into town and they would stop at Olson's Mercantile. An old ledger, and this is a pattern for something, embroidery pattern, but I thought it was really pretty. It's blue on there. This is from a Wilton cake decorating book. I just thought this was so adorable. I had to put her on there. She's got her little bonnet. Super cute. A page out of a calendar, an old calendar. Now I covered the other side, but I left this side because I know some people like to do that and like to use them. So I left one side. A ledger, blank ledger. She's pretty. From Ideal magazine. And then this was from Prairie Girl, the Prairie that my friend Carol sent me, Crinkle Path, some typewriter paper. And then there is a layered envelope that opens up, and you can use this to write in. So that is a decoupaged or collaged, not decoupaged. And then I made a pop-up from I have a Holly Hobby Christmas placemat. And so I made this into a little pop-up in the center of the journal. I just thought that I was trying to figure out how I could use this thing. I didn't want to just stick it flat, but I thought that would be so cute to do a pop-up. So it's got a little pop-up in there for you to play with. I'm all about interactive. Sorry. I'm like, my inner 12-year-old coming out. And I'm sorry that I've got shadows in here. It's very late at night. So anyway, this is the backside. These came from Denmark. I shared. They're ornaments, and they are incredible. So this double-sided. So we have the family and the 3 wise men, and then or kings, and then you have them skating. It's just so beautiful. I got these in Denmark, so I wanted to share them. Clipped in there, so it's a little fabric flip. This is the Kaisercraft Christmas. It's beautiful. It has birds and pears, and it's beautiful. And then this was on the other side, an antique Merry Christmas postcard. But I thought that looked really pretty with the greens. And then this is a copper mine village in 1880s, because the stories and her life was in the late 1880s and 90s. And so I wanted to incorporate some of that. This is an old ledger that I have from Chicago, and it is from the 1800s, and the handwriting is from 1890. The handwriting is incredible. So I tucked a page in this pocket. Then we have the other side of that calendar, and then the other side of the cake decorating, and another page. Look how cute. And then there is that embroidery and the other side of this ledger. This is a pocket that I made, and I made this last year actually, but I thought it was perfect with the spinning wheel and the fireplace, and it's a little notepad. So there is a video up on how I did these, and then there is a little tag in here. This is going to be a long video, I bet, because there's five signatures. CD. And then this has a belly band and a little notepad. And that tucks in there. And then there is a journaling card, which is a postcard. Oops, got a little paint on it. The other end of that stationery. There's a Christmas cactus. And here is like a purchase form. So I'm not going to open it. It's just in there. It's the original purchase form. And then there is a little craft in here that you could make. This angel, and it's double-sided. And I guess you like cut around this thing and it pops up. I'm going to make that. And that's the back side. And this is a belly band. So this comes out, and you can write on this tag. And then we have this and a little sparkly 3D sticker, a little snowflake. This is an old railroad ledger I have, some from 1928. And then there's an embroidery sheet in here. I just think it's so pretty. It's blue. Some parchment paper, some vintage wallpaper made in England. Vellum, and this is Pioneer. Came out of like a Pioneer kids book or something. Naughty or Nice. They're going down the hill with a pig on the front of their sled. I thought that was so funny. This came out of the Little House on the Prairie books. And then this is just a journaling card that I slipped over, so over top of the page. This is vintage Hallmark die cut. They were like coasters, I guess, but I don't know. They're kind of like plasticky. They're kind of cool. So I thought it would look pretty in here. Frontier Homes, and then an altered paper clip, and then this pulls out right here. So you got a little journaling spot here, and then you have a little notepad made from Monopoly money, and then that tucks back on, and then this was tucked in there, and this just is a little journaling card, some handwriting that paper that I took an antique book that I have of this botanical book, and so I just printed them on here, hand sewing. This was some SEI paper that I have. They don't make, I don't think SEI is a company around anymore, but they had the most beautiful paper. It's just so lovely. So I could not wait to use these kind of colors. I felt like they invoked Little House on the Prairie Christmassy because it's kind of woodsy colors and burgundies and blacks and browns and just kind of cozy. A little pocket in here with a flashcard of a deer. And then this is another one of those altered playing cards. And then there's a little to and from card in here. I made these on a live. Let's see. This is a handmade Christmas tag. It says Merry Christmas. And this is a old brass leaf that I had, and a little brass button that has poinsettias, and then I embossed in this with the black and the kind of gold color, burned gold, and it's all done with like Tim Holtz mixed media products. Stenciled some trees on there. And then this is one of my printables that I did for Little House on the Prairie. And so this is the Olsen's Mercantile. I used it kind of as a pocket, and that holds this close, and it's just a little file folder. But I thought the gingham file folder was just too cute. I had to add it. And this is from an antique card that I have. It's from 1880. And so I made a copy of it so you could use it as a journaling card, and you have it. It's a lady's pocket calendar. It's super cute. That the original is adorable. And then I embossed on this, or yeah, I think it's embossed. And I did provisions, some vintage kind of receipts in here, kind of like the mercantile type thing. And there's a pharmacy and a record of 19 something Heathcliff Motor Service. So. And then this is all the back side. Love that. Wallpaper from England. It's just lovely. Yes, I did pull out some of my wallpaper. Here's another one. I love this wallpaper. It's vinyl, but the back, it's embossed kind of feeling. I don't know if you can, the camera's picking that up. And then, but the back is paper, so it's got lots of writing. Here's some pretty little impatiens, but I liked it because it said balsam on there. And look at this. Isn't that cute with the quilt? Oh my goodness. This came out of a Needle Craft for Today magazine. I just, that's just so cool with the wicker furniture and the, so cool. And then this is, I got a roll of this, but I thought it'd be cool to do like chalk writing on the back. It's for flowers from a florist, so it's wrapping paper for flowers. I just thought that was really cool. And some parchment paper. I think that's parchment. I'm pretty sure. Or I may have dyed that. I'm not sure. This is just some wrapping paper. And I left this because it says protect your head and neck from injury. And I don't know if you remember, but in the book, Ma got like, I guess a log fell on her. So I don't know if you guys remember that, but I thought that was really interesting. So I left it. If you want to cover it, you can. Here's some more of that 1880s ledger paper. And then this is a pocket. I tried to clip a lot of stuff in, only because of double-sided tag. It says in each stocking there were a pair of bright red mittens. because I figured you could move the stuff around if you wanted to. Holiday feast and party. This is a foreign language. I think they're Spanish because it's fiesta on the back. Ledger. This is an end page of a book that I had. Oh no, that's not. It's not an end page. This is a Richard Scarry book, but it's a teacher, and because Laura was a teacher, Laura Ingalls, I had to use it. Okay, then I put in here the original newspaper that they have from about Laura and Almanzo. And so from Mansfield, Missouri, and then it has her little story in here, talks about, so it's all the articles kind of about them, and you can read up on her life. Just really, really a cool book. So I just kind of tucked it in these pockets. You can use these as flaps if you want to. And I also put some little dangles at the bottom with some glass beads down there. This is the other side. Yeah, so the cat's like teaching the two other little cats. I just thought that was a cute page. But I love the other side. It was so pretty. And this is the altered paper clip. Again, I think this has some like fun money in it or raw materials. But I loved that it was a barn and a field. So it came out of a game that I have. I think it was like a stock game or something. I can't remember. Old. I put in this from 1912. So it's December 1912. And I have, this is the actual page out of an antique journal that they kept. I don't know, did some kind of tallying in here. Again, some more of that 1890 paper parchment. I tucked in a sheet of that railroad from 1925 railroad paper. There's also this pocket here for writing the alphabet out of an old school book. And then I just tucked that in the pocket. So it's like two pockets there. Glittering snow. And then some alcohol inked tape. And just to kind of help the edge a little bit when you're turning because it is brittle. And then these are all just like the back. Look at that Yule log. Ah, yum. I love chocolate. Chocolate and coffee. And then this is the back of the signature. And it has a picture here of them. I guess they finished he's working on the fireplace. So, and then this is out of I think a watercolor book, but it had some really cool, you could color it in yourself or watercolor it if you want, or colored pencils. So I did include that. You know me, I always have to have activities in my journals. I always have to put activities in here. And then there's more. So here's Black Susan, the little kitty. And there's an altered paper clip and a journaling card that comes out. Another journaling card here. And this is on the back of a Christmas envelope. Here is a beautiful Christmas doily. I love this doily. And then Pa playing the violin or the fiddle. And Laura and Mary watching on. Really cute. And then here is a pocket with a coffee dyed or tea dyed flashcard. And then this is about branding this is an old dictionary page. And then here he is playing the fiddle again. And you can journal on the back. So that's some coffee dyed or tea dyed paper. And then there's this really pretty vintage trim that I added. I did add some vintage like eyelet lace and different laces and trims. This is beautiful. It's just beautiful feeling music paper, but it's Christmas Fantasia. Again, sorry about this is a Christmas card, wrapping paper with a little bit of trim and a quote at the top. There's some journaling paper, marzipan, the Christmas art. Look at those colorful marzipan fruit trees. Here is some more of that beautiful. No, this was a different one. This one's from the 1930s. This is another ledger I have, so I put that in there. It's from the 1930s. This is from a plate from an old wildflower book that I have. So I included that. And then there's this, and this is out of a costume book from that era. So 1894. Here's a vintage Christmas poinsettia paper bag. And then I've got 2 tags in here. There's one with the little wagon and a little wooden ho ho ho. Here's some more vintage wrapping paper. I love this wrapping paper. Not wrapping paper, wallpaper. It's paper, so you can journal on the back of that or do mixed media. Another pocket. This is an old copyright 1894 school book. So this would be something that Laura may have used. So anyway, I just thought this was cool. Story of Little Bo Peep and daisies. Oh my goodness, super cute. And then, so anyway, so I thought I'd tuck that in as a nod because she was a school teacher. Little House in the Big Woods, and it's just a little journaling card here. Some tags I pull out of a belly band. This is the other side of the bag. And then this is a book plate. And then another Dance at Grandpa's, Dance at Grandpa's. And here's a little envelope that flips up, and there's another little journaling spot in here. And then this opens up, and it has, it says, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night from Santa Claus. So just tuck that in there. We're almost finished. Okay. Cookbook page, and this came out of a magazine, How to Cut Corn. I actually do that when I eat my corn on the cob. Here's a Christmas Eve at the Mercantile from my Ideals. That 1930s ledger. Scrapbook paper, and then the back of that doily. And then there's this little handmade little cluster on here with a little jingle bell and some vintage ruffled lace. And then this page has, these are the only, I didn't do a lot of printables in here, but I wanted to give you these because I just thought they were so cool. I have this anti-dyspeptine, I don't know, it's some cure. Anyway, I printed it out because I just thought it was so cool, and I thought you would just like a copy of it. So I made those into flips. And then this is from 1879, and it is a learner's question book. So that's a book that I have that I just love the cover of. And then here's a little belly band and another little scene out of the Little House on the Prairie books. Then there's a glassine bag, and in here is a little birchwood die cut. Mrs. Olson, yes, I had to put that in there. Here's a little tuck spot right here, a little reindeer. And then she's a little journaling card. This actually came off a DVD that I have. So each one of the journals will get somebody in here. This is Mrs. Olson, because there's a lot of mercantile stuff in this one, a bingo card in Christmas colors. There's airmail, which is kind of before that time, but I love this. I have the hiccups, I apologize. Anyway, it's just cool paper. I thought I'd put in airmail. And then this came out of a book that I have that I decided to go ahead and cut into. And you can journal on the back, but there are all these plates from Currier and Ives, and I went ahead and cut them out. So this is vintage wrapping paper, and on the side of this is from Holly Hobby. It says down here, and it was a piece of decoupage paper that I had. So I decoupaged this on here because I just thought it was so cute. It's not Little House on the Prairie, but it's Holly Hobby. Who doesn't love a good Holly Hobby moment? And this is a little card. Christmas card. And then here is the entire book. So at the end, I put in the entire book. And I thought, here they are making that um, maple syrup candy in the snow. And then this is the back of that wrapping paper. This is the back of the Courier and Odds. I love that it was the log cabin and the wagon. I thought that was, and it's like the Pioneer on the West. I thought that was just like very, very perfect for this little cluster, and just a lot of journaling right here. And then there's a red bingo card in that pocket. And then here is a seed pocket with the little rook card in there for December. And this is just stuck on, so you can, if you want, uh, stick something on the back or a journal on the back, tuck something in there. Back page, and in the back pocket, there are a couple of things you can journal on. I love this vintage log cabin in the snow postcard. It's from 1953 to somebody in Wisconsin, actually. And then this is a Pioneer printing pad that I got out when I was, I don't know, thrifting or whatever, but I thought it was cool that it says Pioneer Printing. And this was, don't even know, I think it may have been a Christmas card, a vintage Christmas card or something, and I turned it into a little writing moment. And that's the back pocket. And that is my flip through, guys, of, I know this took a long time, but it's a very large book. And I hope you enjoyed it. This is going up in my shop tonight. It is available. And I will be back soon, hopefully within a week or so, with the other 3 journals that I have going up in my shop also. So have a good night. Bye, guys.